What's up, guys? Coach Colonna here with Coach Wolverine, and we actually just started talking about something, and we stopped the conversation because we needed to get this out. We need to share this with everybody. So,
the dark side of gym therapy, the use, or as we like to look at it, abuse of stimulants. In the gym, and as to why so many people have this need, not just a want, but like an actual burning need to be completely stimmed up with pre-workouts or ephedrine or yohimbine or, all sorts of eluded, get jacked up stuff before the gym just to carry them through their workout, but then yet still try and convince others around them that the gym is their therapy. Well, when I see this,
pretty guilty of that myself.
I've been guilty of this myself, right? Like, who doesn't love a good ass-kicking, caffeine-driven rage of a workout, right? It can be very fulfilling. But it's one of those things where if it is a continuous thing over and over, is it still fulfilling? Or is it now just become your expectation that you need this caffeine to be able to have this workout? You need the stimulation to be able to get into that. And which can open up a door of other...
Carry that into the rest of your day. Like, if you need ephedrine and caffeine to get out of bed, or you need, I gotta go socialize, I'm not really feeling up to it, I'm gonna crush it, like, do this, do that. I'm like, don't get me wrong, I've been, for ages, when I would go drinking, right? My first couple drinks would be like a Red Bull and vodka, right? Like, I would do that for a long time. And when I'd go to work, I'd be like, I'm going to have my morning caffeine, and that's going to get me to lunch, and I'm going to have my pre-workout, and that's going to get me to the afternoon, and then I'm just going to slug through my last 2 hours. And a lot of that is obviously, like we've talked about, with our mental side of it. Like, where are we, right? Like,
you can challenge yourself in that regard, right? So if you are an individual who currently believes that you require, 3 scoops of pre-workouts to have an amazing pre-workout, do your next workout without any pre-workout and see if you can still have just as good of a pre-workout. And if you can't, ask yourself, does the gym actually hold as importance in your life as you currently hold, the belief you're currently holding on to? Because if you have to have yourself so stimmed out just to get a workout in,
do you really want to be there that bad?
Do you actually want to be there that bad going through that work? Because to me, that sounds like I'll be happy when. And so we stimulate ourselves to, have this goal of this dream body, or, a bench press PR or a squat PR or a marathon distance run PR or whatever it is. And we say that. We tell our peers and our friends around us, this is what we're doing, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm going to get. But if you can't bring yourself to do it just on your own without the aid of all of this external stimulation, are you sure you actually want the things that you want? Or do you simply want those things because you hold this expectation that society has the same expectation of you?
For us, right? And it's, you gotta like shift it to, you're using it as a tool. It is a tool, not a vehicle. It doesn't get you there.
Exactly.
And a lot of people, and like for me, a lot of people still, they love that tingle, that feeling. And the thing that when we talk about routines and programming, you're actually programming yourself to, okay, I'm taking this pre-workout because it's a part of my pre-workout routine. I get that tingle, my body knows there's work coming in. That has merit to me, because routine has merit.
Yep.
Okay? But what doesn't is, I take away my pre-workout, I can't go to the gym.
Yep.
Right? Or I'm not going today, I'm going to go pick up some more and I'll go tomorrow. Like, that is where we start running into issues, because what is, like you said, do we actually want to be there that bad, or are we just relying on something to get us there?
Relying on something to get us
Something
to an
external.
outlet
Yeah.
for distraction from what's actually bugging us in the rest of our life that we're refusing to do the work on. Which, how I like to look at it, is like as if you're driving down the highway and bam, there goes your tire. But instead of getting out to change the tire, you're just going to turn up the radio and pretend you don't hear the tire, right? Which is inherently worse, because you're aware the tire needs to be changed, but then actively ignoring the fact that it needs to be changed, right?
100%.
everyone's aware. Ignorance is bliss. It really is. Like, let's get real. But the self-awareness, the personal development, the growth, this us here getting uncomfortable. I mean, today we're fortunate to have the sun shining.
With some sunshine, but
personal development sucks. It is not supposed to be nice. It's not supposed to be sunshine, rainbows. It's a lot of days that are spent in tears, where you're literally questioning the entire fiber of your being as to, why am I here? Why do I feel this way? Why am I doing this? What am I about? That's actually how this works. There is no quick band-aid, but things like stimulants, caffeine, ephedrine, yohimbine, work because of that dopamine hits that makes us feel good at that time. Then when you mix that dopamine hits from the pre-workout with your actual workout, it's bliss. Addiction, right? It's addiction, and
it's a part of it, and it's got to be a tool, not a vehicle.
Exactly.
And I think that's the biggest thing that, like, even when I talk to people that come in, they want these, like, come into the store, they come in and they want these pre-workouts that are like top peak caffeine, absolutely the most. So from an education standpoint, that's actually making their workout worse. If you have too much caffeine for your body, your stimulatories, it's lowering that, and it's actually a vaso restriction, so you're getting less blood flow. Everything in your workout is predicated on blood flow from your brain to your muscles to everything, and recovery and oxygen and all of that. So if you're not using a good tool, right, go ask a mechanic how nice it is to have a good set of tools versus a bunch of shit. And that's the difference, right? So if you're going to be using tools or taking things or doing anything like that, make sure that it's the right tool for the job.
Not a band-aid.
Yeah, and it is a tool, not a vehicle. Nothing is going to replace your actual want to get there, right? If you're like, oh, I'm tired, that's okay. You're not going to be tired if you go there and you get on the treadmill for 10 minutes and warm up properly, right? You're not going to be tired if you drink enough water. You're not going to be like, these things, like, yes, it sucks, and some days we're going to need a little extra zip, but it shouldn't be something that if that's gone, so is my will to go to the gym, or so is my will to get a workout in. That's, I think, it for me, and all I wanted to say there. It's something that is definitely not addressed enough in the fitness community. With there's people that I worked with, even people that I've seen in the industry and stuff. They wake up, they have a pre-workout, they have another pre-workout before they work, and then they'll have a Red Bull in the evening, like to the point where you're like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So, and these are people that like have self-growth conversations all the time. So this is something that can happen to literally anyone.
Yep.
So, I really wanted to touch on that today, and I know this is going to be longer than the usual, but...
Well, there's one more point I want to make, and this, unfortunately, is probably going to shatter the ground you're standing on, is for the individuals of us out there where we've used the excuse, well, I'm just not motivated all the time. I get it.
That's okay.
That is okay.
Motivation cannot be there all the time.
No, motivation can't be there all the time. However, if you have a goal that you are working towards and you are relying on the motivation to get you there, and on the days that you don't have the motivation and the want or desire for that goal is no longer there, you don't actually want that goal.
Or the goal needs to be
slightly adjusted
or programmed, or whatever word you want to use, needs to be done properly. And this harks way back to our video where we talked about New Year's resolutions. If you set a surface level goal, it will fall to a surface level excuse, and that's one to one. If your goal is surface level, you're going to take an excuse that's surface level. As soon as it goes beyond that surface, you haven't built a strong enough foundation in your goal to overcome that wall. Right? And that's why every single developmental everything ever you do, it doesn't matter what discipline you're in, business, art, everything comes with what is your goal, let's solidify that goal, and why are you doing it? Why? Like finding your why. And that's such a ambiguous term with what we do.
Yeah, right? What's your why, finding your why, but that is the actual root. As cliche or woo-woo as it sounds, that is it. That is actually an absolute, is finding what your purpose is and your why. Because if you don't want it that bad without the motivation, if you don't want it that bad without the stimulants to push you forward,
motivation's gonna fall apart.
That's when you ask yourself, do I actually want this goal? Do I actually want the 6-pack? Do I actually want to be able to bench press 500 pounds? Do I actually want this? Or am I holding on to the belief that society has this expectation of me, of you? Self-awareness is most important in this aspect, because we have to ask ourselves the tough questions. And those tough questions, the more difficult they are to answer, more likely they are to be true, especially if they make us feel very uncomfortable and vulnerable.
And we're here to get uncomfortable. And I think on that note too, like what you said about society's expectations, honestly, society doesn't give a shit. The reality of, like, we put the expectations of society on ourselves. So just cut that out. Set a goal for you, work on yourself. And I know, like, I hammer on this with my clients, is you got to work on yourself so that you have more to give to those that you care about around you. Just the people that you're trying to appease by trucking through an identity that's not actually you, is they're not going to be there very long. So that's it for me. I think, like, this is one of the ones I can hammer into the ground, and it's got so many avenues. But I think we kind of touched on the big ones of, like, being self-aware, understanding where you're at, understanding that if taking something, a little thing like your pre-workout or the gym, or like the gym is technically just a little thing. All it is a place that has equipment. Like, you can still be active without it. There's nothing that says you can't. You take that away and you just stop, and it's time to reassess why you're there in the first place.
I agree. Well, that's it for everything today, guys.
Like, share, subscribe, talk, chatter, whatever you got for us. We want to hear it. If you really want us to touch on something, or you've got something that you want us to discuss, please fire it in the comments. We'll get to them 100%. But other than that, we appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
Thanks for stopping by.
Take care, everyone.